Welcome to Katy Calls BS, the podcast where we cut through the noise in course creation, digital products, and business strategy. I'm Katy Miller, bringing you blunt advice, real action steps, and the occasional F-bomb because building a business is hard and the BS isn't helping. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Katy Calls BS. We're back. It is season 5 of Katy Calls BS, and I have something fun to announce at the end of the show. I know I'm going to be that girl. Let's kick things off hot. It's my birthday week. There's an eclipse this week on my birthday, and we are talking digital products like never before. I saw a post in a Facebook group the other day, and it got me thinking, and it's the perfect way to kick off the season. Someone was looking to hire a virtual assistant, specifically someone with Canva skills, who could design a range of digital products for their business. I love this. It was like forms, training manuals, the typical stuff. Workbooks, business templates, social media templates, printable planners, things that were editable. They wanted someone who was familiar with digital products. So I took a screenshot of this because I realized that there was a confusion with this and what I do. They wanted someone who understood what actually sells in the digital product market. I want to be super clear though, before I dive into this, there is nothing wrong with that post. Completely reasonable with what they were asking. They were asking for a virtual assistant or someone who was really good at Canva. Super talented people who are really good at that. That's a different world than what I do. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. They're just different. There is a very real market for well-made templates, but they are different. I use a lot of VAs for my business and what I do because creating the beautiful graphics are something that I can do, but it is not in my wheelhouse. I'm going to talk about what makes it different. But I read that post and I felt the exact thing that I want to talk about today. The gap, the muddle, a place where two very different things get treated like the same thing. The mix-up is what's costing business owners more than they realize. A digital product is not a digital product ecosystem. You need to know which one you're actually trying to build because that's going to change everything about who you should hire, what you should make, and whether any of it is actually going to work for your business. Because isn't that kind of the point? Somewhere in the online business world, build a digital product got flattened into make something pretty and put it on Etsy. Make something pretty and try to sell it. It was a checklist item, which you know how I feel about that. A task that you hand off. Find a designer, do it yourself. Give them a list of formats. Maybe you have a brand list. Maybe you have your brand colors. Maybe you have your fonts. Maybe you have something else. Let them figure out what sells. Now you have a digital product business. Well, listen, friend, I understand exactly why this happens. Templates are visible. Everywhere you scroll, you will see someone selling something like a planner, a workbook, or a set of something. And it looks achievable. You'll see someone saying, you know what, all you need to do is spend your evening not watching Netflix and you can sell something, which is BS. It looks like something that you could do. You're like, oh my gosh, I want to make $1,000 this week. I'm going to do that. Or you're going to hire someone or you're going to click on the post and you're going to be like, oh my God, they made $2,000 this week. I want to do that too. Obviously, we all want to do that. It looks like something that you could do. And then you see like the fifth, they're like, here's 6 things you can do this week to make money. And the last thing is always. It's like, this is the thing I do. And it's always affiliate marketing. It looks like something that you can do or hire out this week and have live by next week. It's something you could do a quick turnaround on. You're like, I'm good at Canva. I can do it. Or you can hire a VA or you reach out to your favorite person or you have an assistant and you're like, they can do it. I can totally pass this off. They can 100% make it and make something beautiful. You don't have to watch Netflix tonight. Just go on Canva, make a printable, whatever BS. Over and over and over again. But here's what they don't tell you. The market is flooded with BS templates. The pretty template is not the thing that's sold. Go look at any template that actually moves on Etsy or on Shopify. The workbook, the planner, the whatever. Somebody bought it. It wasn't because the corners were rounded and there was the extra stripe or the color palette was on trend. They bought it because of the thinking behind it, the specific problem that it solved, the specific person who built it, and the reason their approach to that problem is worth paying for. The graphic is the packaging. It is not the product or the value. When you hire someone who is really good at building you a range of digital products with no strategy behind which ones to build or why or for whom, you get packaging with nothing inside it. Packaging with nothing inside it doesn't sell. No matter how good the designer is, you might make some money, but why does this keep happening to smart business owners? I'm just as frustrated. I see business owners all the time thinking they just need to sell a template and they're good. First, the market has trained everyone to look at output instead of strategy. Etsy shops, template bundles, planner shops, what you see is the finished graphic. You don't see the thinking that went into deciding that that specific product was the right one to build. So it's easy to conclude that the graphic is the whole entire job. The second thing is hiring a designer feels like progress. You post a job, someone applies, files start coming back. That feels like movement. Sitting down and figuring out what your actual expertise is or what you want to sell from your expertise, what the problem solves, and which product format fits that problem. That doesn't feel like progress in the same way because that's a lot more work that's not as visible. It's thinking. It's behind the scenes work. Thinking doesn't produce a deliverable you can point to by Friday. Third, a lot of business owners have never been told there's a difference. Nobody sits you down and explains that make a digital product and build a digital product ecosystem are two entirely different jobs requiring two entirely different skill sets. I can make you a digital product, but I don't think that everyone can build you a digital product ecosystem. So when you need help, you reach for the job title that's visible and familiar, not because it's wrong to want design help or not because it's someone who you might already have in your world. You might already have the assistant. You might already have someone who can do it for you. They might be less expensive because nobody explained that there was a second earlier job that needed to happen first. One is not better than the other. They are different. Let's be very, very clear about that. One is not better than the other. They are different jobs. A digital product is a single thing. A planner, a workbook, a template, a microcourse, a membership. It has a graphic, a format, a price tag. A digital product ecosystem is a system built from your expertise where every piece has a defined job. It connects to the next piece and moves someone from not knowing you towards working with you. We've talked about this for a while on this show. The 4 layers, there's the authority, support, core, and expansion. A digital product ecosystem is strategy first, design second. Here's where the hiring question can be a little more clear. A virtual assistant with Canva skills is exactly the right hire for execution. Once you know what you're building and why, someone talented in design can make it look really good, fast, especially if you have all your branding information. That is a real skill and it's 100% worth paying for. But a VA is not the person who tells you which product to build, what each job is doing in your business, or whether printable planners even fit what you actually do. That's not a design question. That's an instructional design question. That's understanding how someone learns and what sequence gets them a result and how to take what's in your head and structure it so it actually works for the person who buys it. Design answers like, does this look good, is not an instructional design answer. There's design, does this look good? Instructional design is, does this work and does it lead somewhere? You need both, but you need them in the right order. There's strategy first, and then there's execution second. You may know what the strategy is, and that's perfectly fine, but there is a process to what instructional design is, and knowing how you want to build your digital product ecosystem. If you want to build that out in a more robust way, you're going to need a lot more strategy behind that instead of just one product. It's going to take a lot more than one. Hire the designer once you know what you're asking them to build. That's the difference between selling a template and building a business that includes templates. If we zoom out from the specifics to the generic content we keep seeing, we have a bigger problem. There's more generic content in the world than at any point in the history of the internet right now. We have so many AI-generated templates and AI-generated guides, AI-generated everything, all competing in the same feeds, the same marketplace, the same inboxes, and people are tired of it. Research on this is pretty consistent right now. Consumers now prefer human interaction over automated content in the large majority of cases, and content that reads as AI generated takes a real engagement hit compared to content that reads as genuinely human. Most consumers are saying they're actively concerned about whether they're looking at what was made by a real person. Here's why this matters more now than ever for digital products and for what you're creating. When everything starts to look the same font pairings, the same planner layouts, the same 7-step framework repackaged with different colors, realness becomes the rarest thing in the room, not the prettiest thing, but the realest thing. This is why I will tell you 1,000 times to hire the brand and website designer and the brand photographer. You have to set yourself apart. You cannot just have the cookie cutter digital products. People want to know you. People aren't buying a template because it's pretty. They're buying it because somewhere in that product, they can feel a real person who actually knows what they're talking about. They are buying the things because they are yours. It is your point of view. It is coming from you. You have a specific way of seeing the problem that only comes from actually having lived it. That is not something that a Canva designer can add for you, no matter how talented they are. You can go on Canva all day long and fill in whatever, but it is going to look like everyone else who used that same template. So if you're sitting there with a list of digital products you want to build, or if you've thought about this for a while, because I cannot tell you how many times I hear, I'm going to build one eventually, I'm going to build my digital products eventually. Or if you've already posted something like that Facebook post I saw, here's where to start before you hire anyone. Get clear on what you actually know that nobody else knows quite the same way. Not a topic, but your specific point of view. What do you believe about your industry that most people in it get wrong? Ask what job each product needs to do. Not make money. That's not the job. We'll get to that. But does it bring someone in? Does it support an existing client? Does it support an existing offer that you have? Does it build trust before they ever get to you? If you can't answer that for a product, it's not ready to be designed yet. Sequence it before you build it. Which piece comes first? What does it lead to? Map it out. That's your ecosystem. Without it, you just have a whole bunch of files sitting there in an Etsy shop. Then and only then you can hire a designer. Because if you just throw a whole bunch of crap at someone, there's no strategy behind it. But if you have a strategy behind it, you can give it to someone and let them do what they're doing and let them be good at it. If you want help with the part that comes before the designer, figuring out what you actually have, what job it should do, and how it fits together, and you want to build your digital product ecosystem, I can help you with that with a digital product infrastructure audit. That's what we do. It's not a checklist and it's not a design brief. It's a real look at your expertise and how to structure it so it actually works and build that side of your business before any graphics are made. And we can help you with the graphics part too, because we work with people who build the graphics. The link is in the show notes for that. Before we close out the show, it's announcement time. I've had this on my mind for a while. With all the AI content and as traditional search is expected to keep declining as people turn to AI tools for instant answers, Instead of clicking through all the links, I knew I wanted to give you more. I'm launching a blog that goes hand in hand with Katy Calls BS called Build Without the BS. This is going to be a kind of dive deeper into the topic. It's not a transcript of what you just heard. Each week, it's going to give you a little bit more, the data, the frameworks, the parts that need more than the 20 minutes that I try to keep the podcast episode to. This week's post digs into the actual difference between hiring for design and hiring for strategy with a breakdown you can use to figure out where your business stands right now. You'll find it linked in the show notes, or you can head to my website, themillersocial.com. You can create all the templates and the freebies in the world, but if there isn't a strategy behind it, you might not see the profits you're hoping for with your digital products, because a pretty template is not a strategy. And hiring a designer before you know what you're asking them to build is how you end up with a folder full of really pretty files that don't do anything for anyone. They just sit there, which I'm sure most of us have on Canva or in our files on our computer. Your expertise is the thing that nobody can replicate. Put that in first. The design is going to come later, I promise. The design is the easier part. The strategy is the hard part. The expertise is the part that nobody can take away from you. You've lived that. That's your knowledge. If you want to actually capitalize on that, we need to put that strategy into place. I'll see you next time. It's good to be back. Have a great week. Don't forget to check out this week's blog post. If this episode hit home, your next step isn't to build anything. It's to audit what you already have. I offer a paid infrastructure audit where I review your current offers, delivery load, and where your business is relying too heavily on you. You'll get a clear decision doc and a Loom walkthrough outlining what actually makes sense next. The link is in the show notes.